We've recently seen a massive breakthrough in how large language models are reasoning, and this is thanks to some work done by Microsoft and the Georgia Institute of Technology and East China Normal University. So I want to break down exactly what is going on here, what some of these breakthroughs are. I think this is going to be really significant for making AI models a lot, smarter in the future and able to essentially reason better, which is something that some people have criticized them as not being able to do. So I want to dive into all of that. Before we get started, I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined us on our crowdfunding campaign on Republic for AI Box, which is our no-code AI app builder and marketplace that is going to allow people to link together thousands of different AI models that are rapidly getting rolled out. There's new AI projects launching every single day, and AI Box is going to host all of these incredible AI models, open source AI models, all sorts of exciting things that it's very difficult for non-developers to use. We're going to allow those to be accessed by everyone on one single platform. If you're interested in investing in our project, which has over $280,000 invested to date, you can go to republic.com/AI-box. I'll leave a link in the show notes that you can check it out, but let's get into the podcast. Welcome to the world's #1 AI podcast, AI Chat. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer. Make sure that you go to aibox.ai, link in the show notes, to join the waitlist for our new AI platform. We're going to be launching an incredible platform that allows you to build anything you want with workflows in AI. So you're able to chain together ChatGPT and image generators and audio generators to make really powerful apps for your organization, or you can host them on our marketplace and actually generate royalties from them. So make sure to go to aibox.ai and join the waitlist. In addition, if you like the podcast, if you could do me a massive favor and please leave us a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. This helps me be able to get better guests on here as they check the reviews to see how you guys are liking it. So if you could please do that, I would really, really appreciate it. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast? I record and publish podcasts on a platform called Spotify for Podcasters, and I absolutely love it. Essentially, you can upload from your phone or computer, and it distributes to every platform that plays podcasts. They support video podcasts, and you can make money on the platform with ads or even podcast subscriptions, something that has made my life so much easier as a podcaster. So if you're interested, I highly recommend you give it a try. You can download the Spotify for Podcast app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your podcast today. In a really big leap forward for language model technologies, Microsoft, in collaboration with the Georgia Institute of Technology and also East China Normal University, they've unveiled what's called everything of thought, or XOT. Essentially, this is a pioneering method which is set to, I think, really revolutionize how large language models reason and integrate knowledge. So at its core, XOT is trying to essentially elevate the reliability of language models' reasoning capabilities. So traditionally, efforts to kind of refine these models involved really complex prompt engineering methods, such as, chain of thought or tree of thought prompting. And these methods really kind of deconstruct problems into more manageable, quote unquote, thoughts, which are more succinct sentences encapsulating simpler sub-problems or conclusions, right? So if you're going to ask it to reason through something, it just essentially breaks it down into smaller pieces, right? That's the easiest way to say it. But really the innovation in XOT, which is this new thing that's coming out of Microsoft and these universities, comes from its unique approach. So essentially they're borrowing from the playbook of AlphaZero, which is a pretty famous AI program, but by employing reinforcement learning and Monte Carlo tree search, or MCTS, just a minor tweak, but it's a really significant enhancement, enabling large language models to adapt and really quickly tackle some of these unknown problems. So how exactly does all of this function? I know it sounds like really theoretical, everything I've explained up until this point, but essentially the method uses MCTS to navigate and discover effective thought structures that can address specific tasks like puzzles. So in this phase, it really meticulously records a bunch of different aspects like states, values, and frequency of visits to different thought nodes. And this recorded data becomes a bedrock for training the model via reinforcement learning. So the ultimate goal is to equip the model to predict successful solution paths significantly reducing the need for exhaustive search for each new problem, right? So like you can think about this, up until this point, these large language models are just predicting like what word comes next in a sentence, pretty much, or a handful of letters, really, or what we call tokens. In any case, they're not very good at reasoning, and so people, in order to get around this, have been like, okay, well, here's the problem, break this down into like really small bits, solve those little bits and tie them together and do that. And it was a lot like better doing that. Like the results were a little bit better, but it was really like intensive to get it to do that. You have to run it through like a ton of different approaches, and that's just like kind of prompt engineering. So to actually make the model better, they're integrating those same kind of thought patterns and a lot of those same approaches into the model itself, so that it literally is generating responses with all of that integrated, and you're no longer having to use all this prompt engineering. It's just baked into the model. So I think this is so fascinating. This is such an interesting solution. And really, I think the synergy between the large language models and XOT is really noteworthy. Once linked, XOT supplies the language model with thought structures to solve a given problem. So the language model then evaluates those structures, suggesting revisions to enhance solution quality. And this effort, I think, not only streamlines the problem-solving process, but also I think it kind of substantially lessens the cognitive load on the language model and just really like how much compute it's going to use, which is always a problem with these models. So XOT's efficiency is not just theoretical. So they actually did a bunch of testing on this. Including, I think, the Game of 24 and 8 puzzle, and also the Pocket Cube. It demonstrated that it was much better than existing models doing all those kind of puzzle kind of tasks and games. So while it hasn't reached perfect reliability, I think its performance in these scenarios is very impressive. The XOT framework is being called like a breakthrough for its ability to blend external domain knowledge with language and model inference. And I think it's really achieving a very good balance of performance, efficiency, and flexibility, which was previously we didn't really have this in any other method. So I think as for its like practical applications, the details remain under wraps for all of that. Microsoft has not yet disclosed plans to integrate XOT into its products. However, a lot of people in the industry are talking about this. There's a lot of speculation, especially considering similar methodologies might be in the pipeline for Google's Gemini project, which I think Google DeepMind CEO Demis Habbis kind of hinted at that in relation to AlphaGo. So XOT's development, I think, is a very pivotal moment in AI and language model evolution, which is promising not only more sophisticated problem-solving capabilities, but also a future where AI can really seamlessly incorporate huge, domains of knowledge into its reasoning process, which is going to be very exciting to continue and follow in the future.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. That's the sound of switching your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling. Harness the best converting checkout and same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Stop leaving sales on the table. Discover why millions trust Shopify to build, grow, and run their business. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech23.
Thank you for listening to the AI Chat Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, I'd appreciate it if you rate me wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're looking for an innovative group of AI enthusiasts, make sure you check out our Discord channel and also our Facebook community. It's obviously a lot more interactive than a podcast, where we can actually share software tools, prompts that we're using in everyday AI. I'll leave a link for those in the description below.